There's a moment every language teacher knows, even if we don't talk about it enough. It's that instant right before a student opens their mouth to speak. The pause that holds fear, hope, vulnerability, and a question. Am I safe to be myself here? Not safe in the physical sense, safe emotionally, psychologically, socially. Safe enough to take a risk, safe enough to sound imperfect, or enough to be understood. Do you hear any similarity with previous episodes? For sure you do. Last week we had this great conversation with Rachel Valentine, talking about the same thing, safety, safeguarding. Now we're going to talk about it again, but we're going to just move it into one direction only. Not only safety as a whole child, but safety when kids try to improve their language. Because this is one reality, one of the realities here. Every time someone wants to learn language, we all get that idea in mind, oh, am I gonna get judged or something? People are gonna laugh at me? Right? And that's the heart of today's episode, as I said. Because creating a safe speaking environment is not about sweet classroom decor or icebreakers or warm-ups. Those are decorations. Safety is architecture. It's a structure you build with intention, brick by brick, moment by moment, and word by word. And what happens if we don't actually build it with the right architecture, build it properly? Many bad things actually can happen. But you can have methods, apps, study plans, pronunciation drills, AI tutors, everything. But students will still hold back. So today I want to open up a deep, honest conversation about what it actually takes to build an environment where learners feel safe enough to speak, truly speak, without fear of being judged, corrected too harshly, dismissed, compared, or embarrassed. So, as I always tell you, again, get yourself a coffee, sit down comfortably, and let's get started.
Woo! Let's go!
And let's start with the truth. Without emotional safety, there's no speaking. Without the psychological safety, there's no fluency. Without trust, there is no learning. So let's talk about trust. Let's talk about vulnerability, about the invisible contract between teachers and learners, especially in multilingual or multicultural classrooms where the stakes are even higher. And as always on the Languages Pedagogy Podcast, I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm here to tell you what works, what doesn't, what research says, what real classroom shows, and what students reveal when you observe them long enough. We're going deep into teacher behavior, classroom dynamics, student psychology, social linguistics, second language acquisition research, real stories from their teaching life. And yes, the uncomfortable truth about language anxiety that many teachers overlook. So, if you have taught for more than a month, you've seen this silence. You've heard it. A student looks at you, looks at their peers, looks down, rehearses a sentence in their mind, then decides, nope, it's too risky. Yep. That silence is not laziness. It's not a lack of vocabulary. It's not they're shy today. It's called protection. So, in 1995, Horowitz and Cope described foreign language anxiety as distinct type of performance anxiety caused by the perceived judgment of others. Not real judgment. Perceived judgment. That's what makes it powerful, and that's what makes it your responsibility. Because perception is shaped by environment, and environment is shaped by us. Think about it. Speaking a new language is one of the most vulnerable acts a person can do. The learner is literally putting their identity, intelligence, and self-image on the line. Of course, in front of others, imagine in front of their peers in a classmates. It's not like answering a math problem. It's not like writing an essay quietly. When you speak, you expose yourself. This is why so many learners freeze, stutter, mumble, switch to their first language, or say, I don't know, even when they do know. The classroom, or the tutoring session, the online lesson, or the group chat, the workplace meeting becomes a psychological battlefield where people are constantly calculating. And listen to this. They're like immediately going like, how will I sound? Will they laugh? Will I look stupid or something? Will someone correct me in front of everyone? Will they judge my accent, or will I forget the word? Or will the teacher be disappointed? That's a very deep one. And if the answer to any of those questions feels threatening, silence wins. So the real question is, how do we make speaking feel safe enough that students willingly choose the risk over the silence? That's the main core. That's the $1 million question and the $1 million problem that we have now. And let's be honest, linguistic insecurity is everywhere. Native speakers fear sounding uneducated. Non-native speakers fear sounding inadequate. Heritage speakers fear sounding not authentic enough. Multilinguals fear choosing the wrong register. Students fear disappointing their teacher. Adults fear humiliating themselves, right? Fear is universal. The triggers just change shape. And here's a research by Elaine Horowitz. Shows that fear of negative evaluation is the strongest predictor of speaking anxiety in a second language. Stronger than grammar level, stronger than pronunciation challenges, and even stronger than vocabulary limitations. So what's the meaning of this? It's not the language itself holding students back. It's the social environment around that language. And here's the part most people don't want to admit. Teachers can unintentionally cause 80% of these fears. Yes, you heard it right. Even good teachers, even caring ones, even experienced ones. Sometimes it's the tone or the speed of the lesson, interrupting too quickly, or it's the look on your face when student makes a mistake, or overcorrecting as well, comparing one student to another. It's not acknowledging effort. It's correcting publicly what should have been corrected privately. I've seen classrooms where students speak less, not because of the method, but because of the teacher's energy, their presence, their expectations, their seriousness, their pressure itself. Language learning thrives in warmth, not tension. It thrives in playfulness, not rigidity. It thrives in shared humanity, not hierarchical perfectionism. Which brings us to the practical question. What do teachers who create safe speaking environments actually do differently? Now, let's break it down layer by layer. Not as a checklist, but as a philosophy. And here's a reality. Some teachers are instructors. Some are facilitators. But the ones who really transform learners, they are emotional architects. Yes. They design the social climate. They shape the interpersonal norms. And they set the psychological temperature of the room. And here's the first truth of emotional architecture. Your students do not speak because of your activities. They speak because of your presence. Safety starts with you. Now, let's take a look at the pillars that form the foundation of a safe speaking environment. Pillar 1. Warmth before content. We rush too fast into content. Lesson plans, objectives, speaking tasks, grammar points, activities, period. Like a square. We forget the most important 10 seconds of any lesson. The greeting, the smile, the eye contact, the vibe. Students decide whether they feel safe with you before the lesson even begins. Warmth is not a strategy. It's a signal. It tells the students, you're seen, you're here, you're more than welcome. Feel safe. Warmth lowers affective filters more effectively than any pedagogical method ever invented. Pillar 2. Normalize mistakes. Truly normalize them. Don't just say mistakes are part of learning. Everybody says that, right? It's pretty easy to do it. Students don't believe it. They don't buy it. Why is that? Because they watch what you do when mistakes actually happen. If you correct instantly, what happened? It's not safe. If you frown, it's not safe. If you sigh, it's not safe. If you point out errors in front of others, that's not safe at all. A safe environment, it's not one where mistakes are minimized. It's one where they're expected, but at the same time welcomed and explored without shame. I often tell my students, I'm talking about kindergarteners sometimes, because believe it or not, sometimes the best conversations happen not only with adults, but also with kids. They got wonderful ideas. So I always tell them, your mistakes are proof that your brain is alive and working. Not poetic, just true. Just keep doing it. Laugh. Let's laugh together. It's beautiful seeing the kids laughing at mistakes, and then they all notice, and then the following second or the next day, none of them is making the same mistake. And now that mistake was a learning moment. Pillar 3. Teach without humiliating. A student is not fragile, but their identity is, especially linguistic identity. Correcting mistakes is part of our job, true. Humiliating students is not. Here's my personal golden rule. Correct privately, prize publicly. Protect their dignity, protect their face. Face is everything. Across cultures. Doesn't matter the country, the region. Especially in collectivist societies, where public embarrassment can silence a student for months. Never sacrifice dignity for accuracy. Accuracy can be rebuilt. Dignity is much harder. Don't you think so? I read you in the comment sections. Come on, share it with me. Tell me what you think about this. You can actually just join on my LinkedIn account, and let's keep the conversation going, dear teacher, colleagues, students. Pillar 4. Slow down. Way more than you think. Teachers sometimes underestimate how intimidating our speed is. We can speak quickly. We transition quickly. We expect quick answers. We get uncomfortable with silence. So we feel it. Students don't get the time needed to process and respond. Processing time for them, it's equals to safety. Silence is not a threat. Silence is a window where thinking happens. If you force speed, anxiety rises. If you allow space, confidence grows. Pillar 5. Remove competition, increase collaboration. Competition is poison for anxious learners. It raises stakes. It creates comparison. It introduces winners and losers. And speaking becomes performance instead of communication. Yes. But collaboration, that builds trust. Pairs, groups, shared tasks, joint meeting making. People feel safer speaking when they are not speaking alone. Pillar 6. Model vulnerability. If you want your students to take risk, you need to take them first. Speak their language. Mispronounce something intentionally. Show that you're a learner too. The moment your students see you as regular person, flawed, funny, real, their guard drops immediately. I've seen entire classrooms open up after a teacher says, "Let me try to say this in your language. I know it won't be perfect." Humility builds safety faster than any technique. Pillar 7. Value intention over perfection. Students fear speaking because they think the goal is flawless language. But the goal is communication. When you prize intention. Thanks for trying. Thanks for engaging. Thanks for speaking. Very easy. You reinforce effort over correctness. Correctness comes with time. Effort comes from courage. And courage grows in safety. Pillar 8. Let students choose risk. You build safety by giving choice. So choose your speaking partner, or your topic, or your speaking format. Whether you want to read or improvise. Whether you want teacher correction or not. Autonomy reduces anxiety. Control reduces fear. Pillar 9. Build micro-community. People speak more in environments where they feel they belong. This means call students by name. Learn their interests maybe, or try to learn a little bit, or learn from what the generation or the classroom is interested in. Remember their goals, or sometimes make these inside jokes. Be part of their journey. A safe speaking environment is basically a micro community where people feel emotionally held. Pillar 10. Celebrate courage, not just language. Trying, mistakes, persistent growth, vulnerability. Celebrate them all. The more you celebrate courage, the more students will show it. And that, my wonderful listeners, is the underlying principle that every safe speaking environment is built on. Speaking is not a linguistic act. Speaking is a courageous act. You're not teaching them how to speak a language. You're teaching them how to trust themselves in that language. And this is something I actually apply right now. I have a student, TOEFL student. Now that we're going to start the section of stories, real stories, I'll start with this one. My TOEFL student, he had a B2 level, but one of the biggest problems that he had was confidence. Once I started actually helping him, building confidence, making him feel safe, making him feel like mistakes are part of the journey, then he started changing. And suddenly, that 69 points that he got in TOEFL, after a couple of months, he got the 100. So everything was about safety. Everything was about feeling that, they are in a really good place. Someone understands, and it's the safety environment. And at the end of the day, a safe speaking environment is not created by lesson plans, fancy methodologies, or training programs. It is created by a teacher who understands one simple truth. Students speak when their voice feels valued, more than their correctness. If you can make a learner believe that their voice matters, not the grammar, not the accent, not the speed, just their voice, then you unlock everything. Just like the example I gave you about my student. And well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for joining me in this reflective journey into what it truly means to create a safe speaking environment. This is not just pedagogy. This is us, teachers. This is what people are. This is the foundation of every successful language experience, every breakthrough moment, every leap of courage a learner takes. Until next time, keep creating spaces where voices feel safe enough to grow.